So, started off from my extra deck. The MVP of the extra deck, I play 3 copies of Aurea. I know this might seem like overkill, but trust me, I make all 3 copies every single game. It's just Aurea Miracle Fertilizer is too good for me not to play the 3rd one because I used to only play 2, and I always wanted the 3rd one because you can easily OTK with Aurea Fertilizer. Even if you only have 1 fertilizer, being able to just bounce that back to hand over and over again is dumb. 1 copy of Big Eye. This has won me multiple games. Just being able, I stole my friend's BLS with this and got rid of, and attacked with his BLS. I had 4 monsters, including the Big Eye. He had a Dante, a Set monster, and BLS. The Set monster was a Necro Gardener. He was playing Light Swarms, by the way. And I just took the BLS attack. I used Aurea to bounce back one of his his Necro Gardener, and then I just used BLS to hit over the Dante, attack directly, then attack directly for game with my other monsters. 1 copy of Dracosac. I actually do not go into this too often because Destruction is not that big right now. Nowhere near as big as it was during Dragon Ruler format or even last summer. But I mean, it still is a great card against like Rogue and stuff because oftentimes Rogue have a hard time getting around things like this without destroying it, so his effect is pretty decent. And then for rank 8s, I play 2 Felgrand. This is actually the only rank 8 I play. I've been considering putting in 1 Alcai. I still have to test with that. I mean, I've got 2 weeks before Chicago, so... Oh, by the way, this is what I plan to bring to Chicago. I mean, it's just an amazing card. It protects your monsters. It negates effects. It's just great. It's 2,800 attack. It gets over tons of stuff. I don't think I would ever play 3 Hermitries without having double Felgrand in the extra deck. 1 copy of Castel, because I can make it, although it is hard. I can make it, and it's one of my only outs to Floodgates, like Soul Drain. Yeah, Soul Drain. But I mean, it's just a great card in general. Then for Synchros, I play 1 copy of Heraldry Arc Light. I'm considering taking that out for Star Eater. I still have to test around more with both of them though. But I mean, he is great against Shaddolls, Necros, especially Burning Abyss, because if they don't have a Mass Destruction card or Ring Destruction or something, their only out to this is normal summoning Sir, Mathematician, or Farfa. None of their other monsters have more attack than 1,000, unless if they Synchro Summon into Virgil. But if they just like have a Dante, they can't even boost its attack because all cards that he would send to the grave go banished instead, and Dante won't get his plus 500 for each. So he'll just stay at 1,000 and won't be able to get over his defense. 1 copy of Naturia Beast, because although it's not common, you can make it with Rose Paladin Glow Up Bulb, and it is a great one. If you get this off one of your first like 2 or 3 turns against Necros, it's almost always game. Then 1 copy of Armades. It's just a great level 5 synchro. It's not that hard to get out, and it does wreck some decks like Shaddolls, Burning Abyss. You just hit over a Downward Magician that has a Dante and another attachment on it, and it will stop them from activating those effects. Or if people side in the hands against you, which I have had that happen to me before, because you do play a lot of continuous spells. And then, so Ice Hand's live, and then you almost always have monsters, so Fire Hand would also be live. Armades is a great to get rid of those. 1 Goyo Guardian, I'm probably going to take this out for the new Blackwing monster, Nothung. I know that sounds weird, but it is generic, and it's a cowboy when it's summoned, and on top of that, it makes one of their monsters lose 800 attack. I just think that's better than Goyo right now, because even though you could debate that Goyo is 2,800 attack, Nothung has, I think, like 2,300 or 2,400 attack, and it makes a monster lose 800 attack, so that's actually more than 28, and Goyo just isn't doing much this format because, one, against Necros, you can't special summon them except for ritual summon, so beating over them, you can't get his effect to special summon them back. Against Burning Abyss, you don't want to kill their monsters and then bring them back to your field for them to die again. And then, especially, you don't want to take Dante's because that's not going to do anything for you. The only time you would ever want this against Burning Abyss is to take Virgil. Because some people only play one Virgil. Then also, he's not that great against Drolls because then they're just going to come back and there's no use to having them on your side of the field. They're not doing anything. So, I mean, he had his time. He's just not that great anymore. I'd rather play nothing because it's much easier for me to make a level 6 synchro than a rank 4 XYZ monster. One copy of Yazi, Evil the Yangzing. I was debating between this and Michael, the Arc Lightshorn, but I decided on this because the only way I can make Michael is by having Princess Sprout excavated and make her into a level corresponding with the tuner to make level 7. But Princess Sprout can be the only non-tuner then because it's the only light monster I play. Other than actually, yeah, Armades is light, but I wouldn't want to use Armades to get a Michael. I'd rather have Yazi because this is almost auto-win against Burning Abyss if they don't have mass removal because it can't be targeted and every single one of their cards targets, except for like Regeki and Dark Hole and possibly Torrential. I kind of doubt they'd play that though. I mean, it outs Fire Lake, it outs Virgil, it outs Farfa. It's just brutal against them. And it has more attack than any monster they have, except if they go for Acid Golem. But then Acid Golem is a big problem for them to get off the field, except with Farfa. But then when it comes back, they're going to be taking damage. One copy of Stardust Spark. This is one of the things I go into the most in synchro-wise. I synchro summon this the most because it's just really easy to go Sage plus Glow Up into this. And this plus Felgrand is really hard to get around. And also, if I don't really need it, I can just sink into it and overlay for 8 with a Hermitry or something. One copy of Leo is my last synchro monster. It, just like Yazi, is really hard for the Burning Abyss to get around. And with him, Acid Golem isn't even out. The only real problem with him is if I go into the battle phase, I have to go to main phase 2. So then if they have a Karma Cut, Phoenix Wing and Blast, or just any discard outlet and they have a Farfa in hand, they can get rid of him. I mean, obviously Farfa wouldn't be a huge deal, but I mean, Karma Cut, Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast, they can hit him if I go into the battle phase no matter what. Fire Lake can hit him. It's just, I think Yazi is probably a better card to make against them, but if you're unable to make Yazi, Leo is always a great card. So that's it for the extra deck. Last part is the side deck. So in the side deck, I am missing one card. I have 15 cards here, but there's going to be one swap, and I'll tell you at the end. So 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. I was surprised that most people were citing Shared Ride instead of Droll and Lockbird. I personally like Droll and Lockbird way better because if you think about it, they're anyways going to be getting that first search off. So they can't just say, oh, well, they get to search anyways. They get to search with Shared Ride either way. I mean, yes, this is a -1, but they can't. It's not even possible for them to Jin Lock you if you drop this on their Manju or Senju, because they have to discard Cloud's Louse for his search to get Cycle, unless if they have the whole combo in hand, which anyways, then you're probably gonna lose anyways. So it doesn't really matter, and that's not common either, because they only play 1 Jin. Some people only play 1 Cycle. Most people play 2. You also have to have one of the Unicorn pieces, and you have to have the Manju or Senju. So that pretty much means their whole hand has to be around making the Jin Lock. And that's just not convenient for them anyways. So if you drop the Droll and Lockbird and they anyways didn't need the extra search, at least they're going to lose the search off of the Herald of the Arclight when they summon the Unicorn. And also, another notable mention on Droll and Lockbird is, this has happened to me before, when they summon, they're into like top decking and they just need to get the Valkyris off, They have no Necroz monsters in grave. This has happened to me before multiple times, and they just need to add the Brio so that they can go Brio into Valk. You just chain Droll and Lockbird to Manju or Senju, and they aren't able to search the Valk, and then they kind of just lose. One copy of Komashrimo, because if you need the extra spell and trap removal, like against that one random Klee player, it is a good card to have in there. 2 copies of Flying Sea. Flying Sea is a great card against Burning Abyss, although it has been weakened with them starting to go back to a little bit of tribute summoning, and also now that they have Farfa. So they do have outs to it, but it does take a while, unless if they have like Graph in hand, and they can just go Graph into Farfa, banish this. But still, that only gives them 1 turn before this will come back to their field. Then 2 copies of Rose Archer. Rose Archer is really just for heavy backrow decks like S-Knights and stuff like that. I mean, it's good, but it's not amazing. 1 copy of Compulse for primarily Darklaw, because Darklaw is really, really hard for this deck to get around. Then 3 copies of Imperial Iron Wall. I side deck 2 of them against Necroz and 3 against Masked Heroes. Because, again, Darklaw is annoying to deal with, and also this gets around Valkyris, it gets around their mirror searches, it's just great, and it gets around Exomirrors banishing from grave. So if they activate the Exomirror, let's say they activate Exomirror, they have 2 Unicorns and a Trish in hand, they have a Shrit in grave. If you chain that to the Exomirror, since they're not able to banish the Shrit, then they actually have to continue to resolve if they are able to. So then they would have to tribute one of the Unicorns, special summon the second Unicorn, or if they're unable to summon after that because you took away their Shrit, they have to show you their whole hand to confirm that. 1 copy of Mind Crush. It's mainly against heroes, Klees. I mean, if my opponent gets really cocky and they're playing Valkyris, and they're playing Necroz, and they just search multiple Valkyrises, then just call Mind Crush. And Mind Crush, call Valkyris, and if you know your opponent's like that, siding the 3rd Mind Crush is a good move. But generally against Necroz, 2 Mind Crushes is enough, which I already main deck 2. 2 copies of Mistake. This card is amazing against Necroz, and since this deck, they'll generally side in 2 MSTs to hit the Miracle Fertilizer, Symbol of Heritage, Mount Sylvania, and stuff like that. But I don't think many people generally would side in 3 MSTs against this deck. Or some people side in Fairywind, although not many people even play Fairywind in their side deck anymore, because Klees aren't really a deck anymore. So, I mean, it's not common that, it's pretty common that you'll have the Mistake and they just won't have an out to it because they won't be siding in enough MSTs or the Fairywind or anything, and your Mistake will just be fine, and it's better than Droll and Lockbird since it's not just for a turn. And that's actually a change I want to make. I just haven't picked up the 3rd Mistake, but once I do, one Droll and Lockbird is going to be coming out for the 3rd Mistake. Okay, that is it for the deck profile. Hope you enjoyed, and Drollbird 2000 signing out.